Hi everyone, it's Laura here from Making Cards is Fun, and welcome to another video tutorial here at my blog and YouTube channel. Today I'm very excited to be part of the Heffy Friends blog hop. There will be one winner who will receive a £50 gift voucher to the Heffy Doodle store. For your chance to win, leave a comment on each stop on the hop. That means you have to leave comments on the blog posts, so comments left on the YouTube videos won't count as an entry. Please visit my blog post for more information and the hop order. Today I decided to show you how to create shaped cards and how to create a smooth rainbow blend with Distress Oxide inks. Let's get started. I'm starting out with the Absotoothly Awesome Stamp Set from Heffy Doodle. I picked out some stamps from the stamp set and I'm going to stamp these on some white cardstock using Memento Tuxedo Black ink. Next, I'm going to use Copic sketch markers to color all of these images. First, I'm using Y13, Y19, and Y18 for the yellow dress and shoes. For the green, I am using YG09, YG06, and YG03. Finally, for the turquoise colored dress and shoes, I'm using BG13, BG32, and BG11. For this fairy's little face, I'm using E51 and E000. For this little fairy, I'm using E57, E55, and E53. And then for my final fairy, I'm using E53, E51, and E50. Next, I'm going to color the fairy's hair. I like to start out with my darkest color, and then I move on to the mid-tone shades. Finally, I blend all of that out using the lightest shade again. I like to go back and forth between these three combos to make sure I am left with a nice blend. Lately, I've been practicing my hair copic sketch coloring technique, and so far this is my favorite. It creates the most realistic results in my opinion. I like to also play around with different shades for the skin tones and for the hair because I think that we need a lot of diversity and variety on our cards. For the black hair, I'm using N6, N4, and N3. And for the brown hair, I used E57, E55, and E53. I didn't show that on camera because I was just experimenting a little bit with this hair technique, but I did show you how to color the black and the red hair, so I did the exact same thing for the brown hair. So at first this black hair looked a little bit gray since I used gray markers, but when you layer these shades together it will look like black hair. For the fairy wings, I'm going in with BG11, BG10, and the colorless blender to blend that out really beautifully and so that it will look really subtle. Next, I'm going to use this star-shaped die cut from Heffy Doodle, and it has a stitched edge which I absolutely adore. And I'm going to die cut that out of white Nina cardstock. I'm using Distress Oxide inks to create a beautiful blend. I'm starting out with tumbled glass in the center, then I am using broken china for the edges, and then I'm just going back and forth between these shades to create a nice blend. I am blending out the broken china with tumbled glass again, so I wanted to have like a really soft center, so that would look like a spotlight for my little fairies. I'm using a darker shade of blue right now to color the outside edges. I'm using faded jeans for this, and then I'm going back in, I'm going in this time with some black soot Distress Oxide ink to really add some darkness and to create some dimension and to create a beautiful blue blend. After applying that black soot, I went back in with faded jeans, then broken china, and then finally tumbled glass to blend everything together. And this really is such a fun and easy technique. I love working with these Distress Oxide inks because they just create such beautiful and almost airbrush looking blends. I prefer the Distress Oxide inks above the original Distress inks just because they blend easier. To finish off this star, I went in with some beautiful metallic paint. I'm going to mix this with a lot of water, and then I'm going to create some little splatters using my paintbrush. I rarely do this because I'm always a little bit afraid of this because I want everything to be really nice and controlled and to have smooth lines and stuff like that. But for this little star, I really felt like it needed some sparkly splatters. I'm going to heat emboss my sentiment, so I made sure that this star piece was dry. Then I prepped it with some kitchen flour to remove any static cling. I stamped my sentiment on there, and then I'm sprinkling on opaque bright white embossing powder from Wow. I'm melting the powder until it's melted, and then it's good to go. Now it's time to create the actual star-shaped cards. I die-cut this star once more out of black cardstock, and then I'm using my scoring board to create a nice fold for my cards to open. You want to create your scored line on the top piece of your card because that works the easiest. I'm using some double-sided adhesive to apply some adhesive on there and to close my card up. So I'm lining that up with another white star. I decided to use a white star for the back of this card just because it's easier to write a message inside. And there you go. Now you can open that up and you'll be left with a really fun star-shaped card. And you can do this with any shape you have on hand. You could do this with a heart die or even a circle die. There are just so many possibilities. I'm using my Tonic Nouveau Smooth Precision Adhesive Glue Pen to adhere these little elements to my fairies. So this fairy is holding a toothbrush, which I think is so adorable. Then for this one, I decided to give her a little magic wand. And then I also adhered their little crowns on each of the fairies. I heat set another sentiment from that Absotoothly awesome stamp set from Heffy Doodle, and this sentiment is just perfect. I really adore this one. It says, "You are absolutely awesome, ain't that the tooth?" I just love these puns so much, and I think that Heffy Doodle really does a fantastic job with these. I adhered all of my images to my card using foam adhesive, and then I'm using a Spectrum Noir Crafter's Companion clear overlay sparkle pen to add some shimmer here and there. And then I also apply a coat of Tonic Nouveau Crystal Glaze to add some extra dimension and shine and to make that sparkle of the Crafter's Companion glitter pen pop even more. I'm also going in with Tonic Nouveau Silver Crystal glitter drops. These are really pretty and they match beautifully with those splatters. In the second part of the video, I'm going to show you how to create a really smooth rainbow background with Distress Oxide inks. So like I mentioned before, I love working with these inks, and creating a rainbow background with them is one of my favorite things to do. Next, for this card, I'm using the Treat Yourself stamp set and die-cut set from Heffy Doodle. I absolutely love all of these images. I decided to use all of the junk food of this stamp set, so I'm going with the burger, the fries, the hot dog, and then the ice cream cone, and then also the popsicle. I'm coloring all of these images using Copic sketch markers. As always, I'm using 3 colors for each color, so I'm using 3 shades. For the yellow, I used Y19, Y18, and Y13. For the green, I'm using YG09, YG06, and YG03. Then for the burger, I'm using E27, E57, and E55. And then for the hot dog and the hamburger bun, I'm using E53, E51, and E50. Sometimes I like to go back in with these three shades. I usually just keep on blending until I am happy with the result. Next, I'm using R29, R22, and R24. Also using these shades to color the little packaging for my fries. And these are just so adorable. I love these smiley faces. I think that smiley faces just add instant cuteness to your images. For the sausage, I'm using E33, E31, and E30. And then I'm going in with some red copic markers because I wanted to add ketchup to my hot dog. Of course, you can also decide to add mustard, but I prefer ketchup also in real life. I just love to eat hot dogs at IKEA, by the way. Do you have like a small hot dog stand at the IKEA where you live? Because we have, and they're absolutely delicious. I cut some strips of masking paper to 5.5 by 1.5 inch. Then I'm going in with my Distress Oxide inks to create my rainbow color scheme. First, I'm using picked raspberry, and then I am going in with carved pumpkin. This time I'm using the round ink blender tools because these are just smaller, and I find these a little bit easier to create large gradients like these, especially when you're using so many colors. After applying that orange color, I went back in with picked raspberry to blend that out, and then I'm going back in with the carved pumpkin. So for this particular background, or for this particular blend, I'm always going back and forth between all of these colors until my blend looks almost perfect. So for the yellow, I use squeezed lemonade, then I'm using twisted citron for the green. And then for the mint color, I'm using cracked pistachio. And then finally, for the purple, I will be using shaded lilac. And as you can see, I'm always going back and forth between all of these colors. And I really love to create these rainbow backgrounds with the Distress Oxide inks. I've done this quite a few times before. I uploaded I think maybe 2 or 3 videos on how to create these kind of backgrounds, and the key to these backgrounds is just to be really patient and just keep on blending until you're happy. Next, I'm using the Sprinkled with Fun stencil from Heffy Doodle along with some Moonstone glimmer paste from Tonic just to add a little bit of sparkle. I'm using these really awesome mixed media spatulas from Tonic, and I just love these so much. They are really easy to hold, very easy to clean, so I would definitely recommend these. And as always, I have a linked supply list here in the video description below if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching this video on my blog, I have a linked supply list on the bottom of this blog post. I'm using this Yay sentiment die from Heffy Doodle, and I die cut it once out of green cardstock, and then I'll be die cutting that twice out of fun foam since I wanted to create a dimensional sentiment piece. I'm layering these pieces together using my EK Success tweezers and my Tonic Nouveau Deluxe adhesive. So I just like to layer these up. If you don't have fun foam, then you can just go ahead and die cut this die multiple times out of either white cardstock or out of the colored cardstock, anything that you want. Finally, I am adhering all of my images using foam adhesive, and I'm also adhering my sentiment piece to my cards using the Tonic Nouveau Deluxe adhesive and using my tweezers to perfectly position them. Now it's time to finish off this card, of course with a dose of sparkle, shimmer, shine, and dimension. I'm using my Spectrum Noir shimmer pen to add a little bit of sparkle here and there, I'm also using that to add sparkle to my sentiment. And then I'm going in with the Tonic Nouveau Crystal Glaze to add some dimension to this beautiful sentiment. It really adds a really gorgeous gloss to your sentiment piece, which I think is just really awesome. I'm also going to use some Tonic Nouveau drops to add some extra color here and there. For the pink, I'm using Red Sunstone. Next, I'm using Ripened Pumpkin. Then for the yellow, I am using Yellow Bird, which is a beautiful yellow glitter drop. For the green, I'm using Apple Green, which in my opinion is the perfect green out there. Then I'm using Aquatic Mist. And then finally, to add some more purple to this card, I'm using Purple Rain, which is a really gorgeous shade of purple. That's it for now. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and click the notification bell. Also, make sure to visit my blog post for more information on the blog hop. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.